Good morning or good evening, good afternoon to everybody who is here. Today, we're going to talk about how is anxiety, one, impacting you on a mind-body level and standpoint. What does that anxiety look like? And then we're going to do a guided practice quickly on how exactly to shift very quickly out of anxiety into a centered state. Okay. So, one of the things that I've been getting tons of emails and notes about is that so many people in the world are feeling so much anxiety at this point in time. I think there is just an enormous amount certainly going on in the world that is very stressful and definitely can cause quite a bit of anxiety and a lot of difficulty for all of us as we're trying to navigate some of those larger community and world issues. But on top of that, this time of year is particularly wrought with triggers. And triggers are just sort of these things that our body has become coded to have a very automatic response in response to this particular external stimulus, this external frequency, as I would call it. Now, for those of you that have done the flow method and have done, maybe the body language and some of the other programs, you'll know that I call that basically a memory hologram. What's a memory hologram? It's where all the senses that you have, all the sensory information, the frequency of all that sensory information is combined in a moment in time with a certain belief, oftentimes because of either repetition, because you've been exposed to the same kind of belief again and again, or because of something that is a very heightened emotional state type of response. So it can be both stress and sadness or shock, but also it can be periods of extreme elation will also code in very strongly. And that becomes this sort of, as I say, memory hologram, this memorized response essentially in your mind. And so then what happens is when we encounter certain things, whether it's a time of the year, an anniversary date that we're not even consciously thinking about, um, you know, anything with the holidays, everybody has like holiday traditions. And what are holiday traditions, if not coded with tons of ritual and repetition on top of it, usually quite a bit of emotional stuff that goes along with that. And so when we encounter then later on during the year, as we're going into these certain periods of time, let's say the holidays, let's say New Year's, that one is coded with literally every possible kind. It's all the anxiety and all the expectation and all the, oh, you got new year, new you, blah, blah, blah. Like it's so much, right? It's just so much. And so we have that coded into us. So as we creep ever closer to January 1st, and we're supposed to be turning the page and hitting the ground running and all of these things, it builds up this level of anxiety inside us. It is literally January 1 for so many people. I think I got such a rash of people writing in or asking questions about the anxiety that they were feeling or the profound sense of sadness or loss or stress, whatever it was, a combination of those elements. Then I had so many people letting me know that that was what was happening for them in that first week of January. And that's really around literally the date, January 1 has been encoded into your body with all the sensory information and frequencies that when you encounter or you start, in fact, going towards January 1st, all of these responses start kicking around in you and they're very automatic. So a lot of people get super frustrated with themselves when they feel so anxious at the beginning of the year, or they feel like they start off really well with, resolutions, which that's a whole other topic for me. I'm not big on New Year's resolutions for just a host of reasons. And so they get there and they get very stressed and anxious and they get really frustrated with themselves that they start out really well and they immediately go back into old patterns. And that's the thing. If you don't know that there's all this unconscious coding going on that maybe is related to the new year, maybe is related to the holidays or whatever it might be, then you can't shift it. So your whole entire system is going to go into a response that wants to go back into that sort of habitual state. Okay. And that's where a lot of anxiety can come in. So I like to think of anxiety basically as very much a memory hologram that is coded into us as a certain response, usually to situations in our life, especially as we were growing up, that suddenly felt unsafe. Okay. So there was lots of things that could have happened that would feel unsafe. Maybe you had a mom who was, chronically depressed and you just never knew, you couldn't make her happy and you never knew what that response was going to be. Maybe when you came home from school at the end of the day, or maybe when maybe even waking up, there's some parents that are like, even waking up, there's like a big issue. I have lots of clients I've had to work with that have a real anxiety trigger over waking up in the morning because they didn't know what they were going to wake up to, or things like that. Okay. So you could have had that. That can be a trigger of all of the emotions, all of the sensory information, and some unconscious beliefs that got turned into this memory hologram. And that creates this automated response in your body. Okay. So, one of the ways to think about it, you guys, is so let's say you got into a really bad car accident. And let's say there was a song playing on the radio. I don't know, let's pick a song. Trying to think what well, my daughter just had me listening to Me Too by Megan Trainor. Whether or not you know that, let's just say that's the song that's playing. And, at that moment in time, so all of the emotions that rushed over you as you got into this accident, right? And the sounds that you heard, the screeching of the tires, the crashing of the cars, and the feelings, the physical feelings of pain, of anxiety, of stress, of fight or flight, of all of those things, right? Every bit of those things, every frequency of those, okay, is going to combine into one. Okay. And that one little holographic piece of memory is now when you go out into the world and let's say you encounter that Megan Trainor song again, that Me Too song again, right? Then what's going to happen in your body when you hear that song? There's going to be the same exact physical response of anxiety as you had previously, right? Because why? Because the song itself, the frequency of that sound, got encoded at the same time as all of the other emotions, the physical feelings, the panic, all of those things, the shock got coded in really hard, right? It will be the same thing that as you encounter that intersection, let's say it happened at an intersection, every time you encounter that intersection, right, or start to drive up to it, you'll probably feel that same exact feeling of anxiety and panic as you go towards it. And it's not that there's anything wrong with you, and it's not that they're like you're out of control, you haven't healed, or whatever. It's literally the frequency of that intersection actually got coded as a little bit of information into your body that the response you should have is panic, stress, fear, worry, shaking, all the responses you might have had in the moment in time in the accident. Okay. So it's very much the same thing as we grow up. And as you've gone through your life, you've likely had moments in your life, especially in childhood or just growing up, where a situation was such that you knew you didn't want to encounter that again, and you had a sense of anxiety and panic around that. So if you were bullied growing up, that's one that can create really difficult physical and emotional responses for a lot of reasons. And if you're a parent out there listening and your child is being bullied, get involved now. Do something, talk to teachers, get involved, help your kid be safe. Because I can only tell you, working on this on the other end of adults that come to me that have been bullied, the long-term damage that it does. People act like it's just a childhood ritual. Trust me when I tell you, the long-term damage it does is very bad. So let's say that did happen to you as a kid, and you knew that every day when you encountered this, one kid over by the water fountain, that was going to happen. Well, of course, you're going to have an anxiety response every time you see that kid. Maybe even the smell of going into school will cause a trigger of anxiety for you. The sound of a teacher's voice could create anxiety for you. Why? Again, it's a frequency, it's shining into that memory hologram, and your whole body is responding. Okay. So what I want to do now that you kind of have, I wanted to lay a little baseline of like, what are we doing here? Why is anxiety coming up in your body? Why does it come up in these certain scenarios or moments in time, dates in time? And that's why it's literally just programmed in. And your body, there, people try to say, well, I should have better willpower. I shouldn't be so, I shouldn't be so freaked out. You know, shoulda, coulda, woulda, but that's not gonna, it does not help because it's not genuinely, it's not actually your fault, right? If you don't know this is unconsciously programmed for you as a trigger, how are you going to fix it? How would you fix it? So today, what we're going to do is a guided practice. I'm going to keep it to about hopefully 20 minutes, maybe a little bit less. And this is going to be a practice that will help you to be able to go back and hopefully take some of these triggers and some of this alarm in your body and release it very quickly so that after this, you should feel much more calm, much more centered. Now, our recommendation is with this particular kind of practice, it's super helpful to do it multiple times. Okay. It would be exceedingly helpful if you would do it maybe every other day for a few weeks until you start to really turn the volume down on that anxiety. And certainly if you have very high anxiety, that is something you want to be considering is doing this as a, you know, every other day practice, something like that you're doing on a routine. You could even do it every day. The one thing I will say as I go into this, if you have anxiety that is debilitating, that is causing you to not be able to function in your day-to-day life, please do seek out professional help. And if you need help with that and with healing, please do seek out professional help. One thing is you can reach out to me. I'm doing a very limited amount of private mentoring right now just because I'm doing my certifications and I'm putting a lot of time and effort into that because I can have a lot of impact on a lot of people that way. However, please do reach out. And if I can't do it, I will refer you to somebody who can, but do pay attention to that. Okay. That said, let's do this. So I want you to get yourself into a nice, comfortable position. We will go forward on this in a very gentle way. So please don't be worried. I'm going to take a quick drink of water. Anybody else trying to drink a lot more water in the new year? Because, man, I have to time things now. So I don't drink too much water before I do something because then suddenly I'm sitting here going, oh my God, I got to go to the bathroom. Okay. And that can certainly ramp anxiety. Okay. So let's go ahead and get ourselves nice and centered. And we're going to go ahead. I want you to find yourself wherever you are. Make sure you're in a comfortable space. Obviously, do not listen to this if you are driving or doing something else that, where you're in motion. Not a good idea. So find yourself. I want you to be very supported. I want you to be very nice and cozy and warm if you can. So warm clothes, blanket, that sort of thing is just really helpful for this kind of thing because it's really good with when you're dealing with anxiety to make sure that there's a nice comfort level for yourself. Okay. All right. So we're going to close our eyes. I want you just to inhale in deeply and exhale. Good. And inhale again. And as you exhale this time, imagine that you have warm rain above you, and that warm rain is just dripping down over your body. And it is releasing any stress, any tension, any worry, any anxiety down into the earth, dripping off you, where it rolls into the earth and gets absorbed and is away from you. Inhale again one more time. And exhale. I'd like you to imagine now that you are sitting on a warm and beautiful beach. And you can hear the seagulls calling above you. You can feel the sun on your cheeks and your shoulders. You can hear the ocean as it ebbs and flows, gently moving into the beach and gently going back out into the ocean. The sand feels so good and warm underneath you. You feel fully supported and fully at peace. And I want you to imagine now that there is a bright light that is coming down and coming down towards you. And this bright light is whatever color you would associate with peace or with calm. And it can be any color that you choose it to be. That's perfectly fine. Any color is great. And whatever color it is the color it should be for you today. And now feel that beautiful light, that colorful light right above your head. And you can feel it sort of swirling and warm above your scalp. And when you're ready on your next inhale, you're going to pull that light now down into your mind, into your brain. And it's just illuminating that area, looking for any areas where you're still holding any tension mentally and releasing that completely. Just burning it away and allowing it to float away from you like smoke. And bring that beautiful light now down into your sinuses and jaw, releasing any further tension that is still there in the jaw. See the light moving into any areas of tension, melting it away, burning it away, and allowing it to float away from you like smoke. And bringing that beautiful light now down into your neck where you might hold tension. And if there is any tension or stress there, allow that light to go into any of those areas and see it just soothing and melting away that stress, allowing it to move away from you like smoke. Moving that light now down into your shoulders, seeing if there is, in fact, tension there, if you still feel like you're trying to hold up too much. Allowing that light to move into any areas of tension, melting it away and releasing it, seeing it float away from you, and feeling your shoulders settle and release. And now moving that beautiful light now down into your heart. Noticing if your breath is easy and full or if it's constricted and tight. And allow that light now to move into any areas of tightness or difficulty, creating, melting that away, melting away any stress and tension, and allowing it to float away from you. Moving that light now down into your solar plexus, to your gut, to your stomach, to your core. Breathing into that area and seeing if there's still any areas. Are you holding or gripping onto anything in your core? We often do. And if so, seeing that light now move into any areas of tightness or gripping and releasing that, melting it, and allowing it to flow away from you like smoke, evaporating out into the sky. Bringing that light now down to your low back and into your pelvic bowl, in between your hips, into your womb space for women. See if you're holding any tension or tightness there in your hips and your low back. If you've been feeling like you're supporting too much, or you have one-on-one relationships where you are not feeling supported, you may have gripping in that area. And see that beautiful light now move into that area and just allow it to melt away any tension or tightness, allowing it to move away from you like smoke, and releasing and feeling that area soften into the sand. And now moving that beautiful light down both of your legs into your knees, checking to see if your knees are relaxed and released or tight and gripping. If you feel like you've been holding up too much as you walk forward or having to hold yourself against others' beliefs, you may be tightening there or feel tightness there. And feel that just soften and release as the light moves in there, making it very warm and melting away any tension. And moving down that light down into your shins and calves, and down into your ankles and feet. And making sure that you feel fully grounded and fully supported right now. Perhaps you can feel your feet in the sand. And just melt away any further tension that is there. And just in this state now, you're fully relaxed and fully at peace. And as always, you are fully safe. What I want you to do now is to think about a situation which tends to make you feel anxious. You will feel anxiety come up in your body, and just allow it to be there without going into your head. Just allow the sensations of it. This is a safe space to explore it, so just allow it for a moment. And whatever that particular scenario is, whatever tends to cause you to have stress and anxiety. Okay. And what I want you to do is to imagine that you now see and you are calling in your higher self. So your higher self can look like you coming in, or it can look like something else. It can look like anything. And your higher self is that place of true wisdom that is guiding you, that is part of you always. And so imagine that that higher self comes in and is standing in front of you. And I want you to ask your higher self to help you to locate exactly where in your body the start of this anxiety lies. So this will be the place that, like a fire alarm, is basically the alarm state in your body. So I want you just to see if you can help, if the higher self can help you to locate, where is this? Where do you feel it exactly in your body? Where do you feel it starting from? So continue to stay with your body, continue to stay focused on your body as you do this, and try to locate this. Oftentimes it can be in our gut or solar plexus. It can certainly be in our heart. It can be in our throat. So if you can, see exactly where the feeling of anxiety starts from or emanates from. And when you locate it, I'd like you to see your higher self now reaching into you at that spot where the alarm is. Okay, and it's very safe. You're very safe in this moment. And your higher self is going to reach in and pull the alarm out of you that is attached to whatever scenario you've thought of. And they're going to hold it out in front of you. And you can see what that alarm looks like. And that alarm may have been set into you a long, long time ago. You can ask your higher self for a moment for wisdom. Is there, could they tell you, he or she tell you exactly when this alarm was put into your system and into your body? And we'll pause for a moment so you can listen. And so now you may know where this alarm state may have come from. And so I want you to see that your higher self now is going to basically evaporate this alarm into nothingness so that it actually moves away from you, so it is gone. So I want you to see your higher self literally turning this alarm state into particles that just flow away from you, melting it completely away from you and allowing it to release. And now I want you to see yourself sitting there and being aware of where this alarm state may have come from, maybe where that moment in time. And oftentimes it may have been a time when we were children or when you were a young adult. And so I want you to speak into this alarm state in your body and perhaps even put your hand or hands over the area of your body where the alarm was. And we are now going to fill that place up with the love that you perhaps needed, or support or compassion you needed in that moment in time that perhaps you did not receive and that caused this feeling of stress and alarm to go off in your body. And so right now, I just want you to speak into that area and say, you are unconditionally loved. You are supported. There is no need for any further anxiety or stress. I'm now navigating this, and I'm navigating it with power and strength and awareness. And really feel that alarm state in your body going down. We're staying very much connected with our body feeling right now. I want you to see your higher self now putting their hands over your alarm area where it was. And I want you just to see them pushing or putting all kinds of peaceful energy and peaceful love and all good things into your system right in that place where the alarm was. Allowing it to turn down, allowing you to feel whole and healthy, and realize that while you may have needed to have a stress or anxiety response previously in your life, due to whatever your original factor was, you no longer need to have that. And now, as an adult, that does not serve you any further. Breathe into that area and do one more release of relaxation. And you can thank your higher self for this help, for this work, and allow your higher self to go floating away from you, knowing you're always connected to it because it is you. And now feeling the sun on your cheeks, feeling yourself back really fully on the sand with the beautiful water in front of you going back and forth on the shore. I'd like you to see yourself standing up and walking to the edge of the water and reaching down and taking that warm water and washing it all over your body, just allowing it to flow down over you, releasing finally any remaining parts of this alarm state or anxiety state that you had, this anchor that was in there of alarm. Washing that away, releasing it completely, feeling healthy and whole. And now going back and sitting on the sand and just feeling love emanate from your heart, and energy of love emanate from your heart. See that love light turn into a beautiful energy that goes out of you and all the way around you, over your head, all the way down under your feet, completely covering you in this beautiful light of love and peace and protection as you go about your day today, centering you in a place of love and peace. And when you're ready, you can start to become aware of your present surroundings, where you're at, where you're sitting. Noticing any sounds in your present environment and bringing yourself back to your fingers, your toes, bringing yourself back to the space in which you are resting, lying, or sitting right now. And now allowing yourself to bring yourself back slowly and gently. When you're ready, you can begin to open your eyes and release. So hopefully that exercise was very, very helpful for you as you are navigating releasing anxiety. What I want you to do on a day-to-day basis is just to really notice where there are triggers for you that may be causing you to start to feel anxiety. It can be when people are coming to you with expectations that you feel like you have to drop everything and fulfill because perhaps you had to drop everything for everyone as a child. There can be a lot of other, um, there could be other things where, your boss is adding more work to you and you don't have the ability to say no because you weren't allowed to say no as you grew up. And there's just so many different things that can cause us. And what we're looking at is that the frequency is the same in those situations. So what you may have learned as a child or a young adult, the frequency of that, of having perhaps all the expectations of your family, let's say, on you to maybe fix everything. So now, when you're in a day-to-day moment, perhaps with your own nuclear family or your own chosen family now, or your coworker group or whatever it might be, you start to feel yourself feeling anxiety. And it's right at that moment when you bring awareness to it as you go through, you realize, oh, I'm having this physical response in my body. This alarm state is going off for me. And the reason is because it's the same frequency as when I grew up. Okay. So if you can just bring your awareness to that, then come back to this practice anytime you want. We'll put the timestamp under there so you can just go to the practice itself and you don't have to listen to the explanation because you don't need it anymore. And just come back and use this practice as much as you want. Hopefully, right now, if you just very calmly and in a very safe way, think about whatever the scenario was that normally does bring you anxiety. If you think about it again, hopefully your alarm response, even right now, should be lower than the volume should be turned down to that same exact scenario, should be turned down over what it had been previously. Okay. And if this has been effective for you and you do feel less of an alarm state, I would be super grateful if you would comment below and let me know, because truly the biggest and most important thing in the whole world to me is that I'm able to help and to make an impact on others' lives. So it really, truly means a lot when you comment and let me know that this has been effective. If you have questions, if you have things you'd like me to take on in a new video, please let me know. Put those in the comments as well. And if this has been helpful to you, please subscribe. We have 3 videos going out a week that are a lot of different on mind, body healing, manifesting your dream life, and also on help for healers, coaches, and therapists for various things that we tend to encounter as we are going about our day-to-day work. And so if you can, please make sure you subscribe, you save, and you share this with others that this could be helpful for. So if you know somebody in your life that is dealing with anxiety and doesn't understand why they keep having these anxious responses, please share this video with them and help me to be able to impact more people in this world and make this world a much better place. If you'd like to do more, you can check out more in the comments about different ways that you can actually jump into some of my programs that are intended to help you in all kinds of aspects of your life, and certainly in the mind-body connection. I'll see you next time. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And just know that you being yourself is going to make a huge impact on this world. So keep doing this practice, turn down the anxiety, and be able to show up as your best self. See you again soon.